So, I mean, I feel like, when you're in a darker place, it's really hard to look and see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
But I feel like with the creativity, like doing the crafts, and I'm a big puzzle person too. It allowed me to like for some reason, it allowed me to process things in my head a bit more.
Mhm.
Like my hands are occupied,
Mhm.
so it allows me to process a lot more. And same thing, like I built a garden last year, a big
Sure.
garden for the summer. All those things just go into helping me, I don't know, like figure out my next level and see who I want to be next.
Welcome to Soul Led Creative Women, a podcast for women passionate about personal growth, seeking bold, brave ways to navigate life's ups and downs. I'm Sam Horton, and in this episode, I talk with Rebecca Bertoldi. We talk about Rebecca's healing and personal development journey and how that helped her to discover her creative self. Enjoy. So today I have Rebecca Bertoldi with me. As a self-proclaimed data nerd, Rebecca Bertoldi has created countless data-driven strategies for small local businesses to tech startups to multi-eight-figure global businesses. She was part of personal development leader Mary Morrissey's marketing team. Her unique experiences help her to craft compelling campaigns that connect with her clients, audiences, increasing the brand outreach and profitability. Rebecca is passionate about marketing, which is noticeable within a few seconds of talking to her. She believes all size businesses deserve great marketing, and she has won awards for her work. When she's not creating campaigns, you can find Rebecca at home in Connecticut with her husband and fur babies. So, welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me.
So, today we're
Thank
going
you.
to be talking all about unlocking your creativity through life's challenges. So, to kick that off, I know that your own personal development journey has been a huge part of unlocking your own creativity. We often embark on a personal development journey when something significant happens or we get fed up with the stories we keep telling ourselves. So, can you share with us a bit about the catalyst that set you off on your own personal development journey?
Absolutely. So for me, I got married when I was super young. I was 21, and it just really wasn't the best fit, and it wasn't the perfect guy. And that was my catalyst to go on and heal myself, really. At that point, it was more about trying to rediscover who I was. Like, we met in middle school, so it was such a
Right.
long journey. So, it was all about rediscovering who I was, and it was definitely a process. And then once I started feeling a little bit more like me, I guess, out there, then I really dug into the personal development, like where before it was kind of more like healing and surviving. And then once I was just like, okay, I can't just keep surviving. Like, you can't be in survival mode all the time. So yeah, I started with going to this group called Successful Thinkers. And I'd never heard of it before, and it was all about just approaching different subjects in different ways and getting the perspectives of the people in the group and opening your mind to new things, and that
Cool.
kicked it off.
So, in terms of how that started for you, then was that not by your choosing, or was it just sort of external things that were happening to you within the relationship that caused this kind of, this personal development quest, if you like?
Well, my first husband was very abusive, so
Okay.
it was really trying to overcome. There was just so much of that comes with that, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was, a good. I got divorced in 2009. And it wasn't until it was at least 6 or 7 years before I started to really come out of that.
And did you need to
So,
start the personal development piece and the healing journey? Did you need to start that before the relationship ended, or was it very much, after it had ended?
it's after, yeah.
It was
Once I was
after.
safe and I was good,
Yeah.
or, at least physically safe,
Yeah.
that's when it started.
Okay, so that's pretty significant then. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think for a lot of people, they're sort of going through this journey over a number of years and resisting leaving, even in an abusive situation. Obviously, it depends on obviously how unsafe you are. But yeah, it's a big wake up call, isn't it, when when you're thrown into the deep end like that? So that's huge.
Yeah, and it was I remember I had gone out to my grandmother had a house on, it's a little island off of Rhode Island here in the States called Block Island, and I would go out there and just I would hear the waves, and it would
Mhm,
calm me so much, like, that became my happy place, and I just remember being out there and seeing this magnificent sunset and thinking like, "Man, like, has the sun been setting like this for a long time?" Like, almost like I'd never seen it before. It
wow.
was so, like, yeah, awakening to see like, "Oh my god, there's something beautiful in the world again."
It's sounds very magical. The universe is trying to talk to you in that moment, I'm sure.
Mhm.
So, okay, so as part of this sort of healing journey then and personal development journey as, you're moving through that, obviously there'd be a lot of unknowns attached to that. Can you talk to us a bit about, the unknown and embracing the unknown as you stepped into this new chapter of your life?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me was I had PTSD afterwards. So I
Mhm,
was navigating that. And that was like, I didn't understand. And before I was diagnosed, I just didn't understand why certain things would happen. Like I would hear a noise and I'd feel it in my body for hours. And
mm,
I just wouldn't, I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't quite know how to detach the two. It was
mhm,
like the kind of the first time I really realized our mind body connection
mhm,
in a real way. So that was definitely difficult to face that. And then I wasn't sure how to manage it and I didn't want to make it worse. And it was getting worse.
okay,
So it was definitely challenging. But as I went and tried different things. So one of the first things I tried was EMDR,
okay,
the eye movement and let's see, and dissociation or something like that.
okay,
But But it's basically like they either use light or they use like their fingers to go across and it reprograms your
mhm,
neural pathways. So that was a big help, but it wasn't everything, like it wasn't
sure,
completely out of me.
sure.
But that got me to my next step at least.
Yeah, it's like a layering of all these different things to get you where you are today, I'm sure. So
Exactly.
what role specifically did creativity play in this journey for you?
It was really as I was like like awakening after seeing that sunset, like I started chasing sunsets and I grabbed my camera and I went out and I was just taking all of these pictures of different sunsets and then moved on to doing more nature and landscapes and things like that and really took a lot of time to take those photos and go around and explore and be in nature. And it
Mhm.
helped me not only to express myself through the photos, but also to be out in nature and do something healthy for my brain.
That's very
So that
cool.
was the first piece of that. Yeah.
And so are you still taking photographs? Is that your main creative outlet?
Not anymore. Like I tend to have like cycles actually.
Okay.
So I have a Cricut machine. So I like to make my own little signs and things like that for on the Cricut. And then I have beads, so I like to make like jewelry and, like little bracelets and things like that for friends and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I got my first resin kit, so I'm gonna start playing with resin and see what
Okay.
that's about. And you know, so I love to do crafts. Like that's always a big
Mhm.
one for me.
Excellent. I mean, one of the huge, things about, really, honoring your creativity is play and exploration. So you're explaining that perfectly in terms of, it's all about play. It's not about the outcome so much, but just playing through the process. So, yeah, that's really beautiful. And so would you say that your relationship with creativity has really helped you to transform the relationship you have with yourself then? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like, when you're in a darker place, it's really hard to look and see some light at the end of the tunnel. Mhm. But I feel like with the creativity, like doing the crafts, and I'm a big puzzle person too. It allowed me to process, like for some reason, it allowed me to process things in my head a bit more.
Mhm.
Like my hands are occupied,
Mhm.
so it allows me to process a lot more. And same thing, like I built a garden last year, a big
Sure.
garden for summer. All those things just go into to helping me, I don't know, like figure out my next level and see who I want to be next.
Sure. I often say that, it quiets the noise enough for you to really hear yourself. It can be a really beautifully serene thing when you get lost in a creative project. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes you just don't want to stop, and it's like, okay, I've been sitting here for hours.
Yeah, it's time to get up and move.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how has creativity then helped you to, embrace your life and your work in new ways?
So for my life, like, I started working on my vision and what do I want for my future. And I feel like without some kind of level of creativity in me, like I would limit myself a lot more. And even though like as I vision, I want to vision big and
Mhm,
I want it to be unrecognizable, but there's also like I feel like the creativity kind of gives me that power to reach that far.
mhm.
Is it's thinking about like when I think about what would I love, like that's what one of my coaches would always ask me is what would I love? And when you sit there and think about each of those things, like I think about what I want to do with the house and the places I want to go with my family and like all those kinds of things. And if you don't have that creativity flowing through you, then you may not think big enough.
Sure. And
Yeah.
it's less about, getting the job done, right? So less about, getting the job of redecorating the house or transforming your garden or even, going on a holiday because the creative way of doing things is maybe to take the longer route, right? And to take your time with it.
Scenic route every time.
It's
Yeah.
scenic route every time. That's it. Yeah. Excellent. So how does creativity feed into the marketing work then that you do with clients?
So for me, like as I started to get more creative and explore more things and on the personal development journey, like, I'm meeting a lot of different people and they think way differently than anyone in my family and that I grew up around. And so it's like my mind is just opening to all of these
Mhm.
different ways of life and cultures and possibilities. So as I go through all of that, I'm understanding people a bit more. Like for me, like I said, I'm a data nerd and I can be very just logical and analytical. So it's something I have had to actively, I don't want to say push aside because we
Mhm.
need both parts of us, but it was definitely way heavier favor to that side. So for now, like I can better relate to people and their emotions. And that has helped me with my marketing and how I put campaigns together. And like I help people create great funnels and things like that. So it's an experience that you're guiding people through and knowing what they're going to be feeling when they get to each step helps me so much more
Yeah,
when I'm
sure.
when I'm building that. Yeah.
It's not always like a 10-step process to get somewhere, is it? It's kinda like sometimes you gotta take that scenic route within your work, so I'm assuming that's what you're talking about there, is that right?
Yeah. So like I love to create those experiences. So we want to make sure everyone feels cared for. So when
Mm,
they do take that scenic route, that they're enjoying every step of the way.
beautiful. So, do you think that then your business would be where it is today without kind of this journey that you've been on and, this creative discovery that you've had?
I don't believe so. I think, I know how I mean, I've grown so much. Like, it's not just about, getting past PTSD or, like, getting pat like, you're not just gonna be done with it one day. It's always gonna be part of you in some way,
Mhm,
and I feel like there's just it's all part of the journey, and who you become in the process of that journey
mhm.
is really what the goal is at the end, like, wherever you are. So, there's always gonna be another way to level up.
Sure.
There's always gonna be another way to better your life, so you just keep reaching for it.
Mm. And I guess reflecting back, I mean, at 21, what would you tell your 21-year-old self now? The wiser you. What would you tell you?
It's hard to say because if I hadn't gone through all of that, I wouldn't be the person I am.
Yeah,
So it's, and I've had to over the years, I've become more grateful for those skills that I do have, even though, I hope to never need those survival skills ever again, but
sure.
I am grateful for where I am. So if I look back, if I could do that without losing it, like losing what I have, I would tell her to follow her creative heart because I was
Mm,
ready to go to Berkeley to college and start a new chapter in California at that point,
sure.
So it was, yeah, I would have told her to go, get her butt out of New York.
Just go. I mean, I think, when you're 21 though, I know I did, you think that kind of happiness and fulfillment lives outside of you, right? But actually, as you go on this sort of journey, you realize that actually it's all sits within you. What's your response to that?
Absolutely. I remember thinking like these things are happening and that's why I'm not happy. And I remember that being my story. And
Mm,
I hear in other people sometimes that I'm like, I remember where you are and you're so close.
mm,
But it's definitely one of those things that when you're going through it, you're going through it, but you have to just move forward.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously, healing to be done throughout that process. But, when you realize, I think that you have the power's within you, and you can decide for, what kind of life you're going to have. It changes everything, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it I don't remember, like, at one point, I was like, "It's up to me to make myself happy. There's no one else that's gonna do it. If I'm not
Mm,
happy within myself,
mm.
then there's nothing else anyone else can do."
Yeah. There's no relationship, there's no job, there's no, achievement
Mm.
that you can gain that's gonna really fill everything up. Do you know what I mean? Without that inner relationship, it's always just not gonna kind of be enough. Yeah. So what kind of journey do you take your marketing clients on then, Rebecca?
So, one of the things I've noticed, I work with a lot of coaches, and I've noticed that a lot of them feel like they're not offering anything special or that
Mhm.
anyone can do what they do, and I help them to first find that superpower within them and let them see like what their experiences have brought them through are gold to somebody else. Like you're going to
Mhm.
find your people. So I help them find their audience, their tribe. And then I help them to craft really great experiences for their clients and for their audience.
Mhm.
Because we want their clients to always feel like they matter. And there's little things that we can put in along the way that are automated that just make a huge difference. So I help those clients really with their technology. That's a big one. Everyone comes to me for their tech.
Okay.
So yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot
So
of
all that
tech
marketing
fear
tech.
of tech out there, isn't there?
Oh my goodness. And I am blessed to say that I have both a tech brain and the creative brain.
Yeah.
And just as soon as I started working with computers and stuff, it was very natural to me. So I'm blessed with that. So
That's
I
good.
get to use
Weirdly, I'm the
very
same,
advantage.
Rebecca. Yeah, weirdly, I'm the same. Yeah, I spent 20 years in the business world, so I kinda had to, learn that side as well, so I appreciate that. So in terms of an A to B sort of journey that you take clients on then, what's the transformation that you offer them? What kind of results have you seen?
Absolutely. So I've helped some coaches that are just starting out to keep their costs low, get their marketing system up and running, and start building their email list, which I find is so important because regardless of what happens on all these platforms with their algorithms and everything else, your email list is always yours. So build that email list.
Mhm,
So I help them to rapidly build their email list, coming up with lead magnets, and then all the way up to I've helped six-figure coaches get into the seven-figure space.
mhm,
So there's a lot of great ways to promote yourself and to get the most out of it. And I've spent like probably over $1 million testing different ads and
okay.
colors and all these elements to see how people buy. And
Mm.
I've done it all for different coaches, including Mary Morrissey. So
Mm.
it's learn from my mistakes.
That's
Learn from a
great.
lot.
So, what does your own personal self-care routine look like? How do you look after yourself? You talked a bit about your crafts and stuff, but, what does it look like for you on a regular basis? How do you, care for yourself?
One of the things I love about summer is I can go out to the garden and I love just being out there. Like I'll go out in between projects and I just get to kind of reset and of course weed some stuff. But and then other times it's more of like I enjoy yoga. It's very calming for me. I do enjoy going to like Home Goods and Michaels and of course, crafts and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and then of course spending time with people that make me laugh. Laughter is the
Mhm.
best medicine.
Yeah, beautiful. And how important do you think balance is? I obviously know that you're entrepreneur and you've got your marketing business. How do you, keep a balance between that side and, looking after yourself and, doing the other things that you love to do?
I was I was not always so great with balance,
Mhm,
but now I make sure I schedule in the time for myself. I use my calendar to my advantage and make sure that it's on there.
mhm,
And I really make an effort to not work on weekends. Like unless there's something, special coming up, like an event that I'm going to help with, but weekends are mine to
mhm.
spend with my family and myself.
So for all the women who don't currently consider themselves creative or who struggle to show up for their creativity, what powerful questions would you have them ask themselves today?
Hmm. Like what when they pay attention to what's around them, what do they hear that makes them smile? Like what do they smell that makes them smile? I think well, utilizing all of your senses will help unlock some of that and help you to just absorb more.
Doing a bit of soul-led inquiry, that's what I call it, where you ask yourself
Yes.
those those powerful questions. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, anything complicated though, does it? Just simple things, yeah. Everyday
Paying
experiences.
attention
Yeah.
and being mindful, be in the moment and just listen. Like sometimes, like one of the things I love about my home is on the back deck there, especially like in the spring and summer, fall. We can sit out there and the birds are out there and it's just peaceful. And it's
Mhm.
just, and you're just hearing all of nature around me.
Yeah, and resisting that temptation to go and get that job done or, clean the house or whatever it is that your busy brain will tell you you need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like I need to get away from the screens. Like that's, I'm in front of the computer so many hours a week and I love to eat lunch outside and
Mhm,
with no,
mhm.
unplugged and it's amazing. Just gives me that time away and I can close my eyes for a minute and just listen and take it all in.
Yeah, beautiful. So how can people get to know you a bit better, Rebecca, and get a real feel for the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so you can visit my website, RebeccaBertoldi.com. And I have some, fun little videos that I make about marketing. There's ways for you to look at other podcasts. Me and a friend of mine actually have a show we do every Monday on Facebook that's Coffee with Creatives.
Okay.
And she's an interior designer. So she gives those kinds of tips and it's fun. Yeah, all of those ways. You check out the website and you can see all the places that I'm popping up and I'm speaking and come join me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, Rebecca. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much for having me.
Start reconnecting with your inner creative magic with a powerful 10-minute meditation. This meditation is designed to help you reconnect to yourself, your creativity, and spark your inner wisdom by guiding you to discover your own unique and personal sacred creative space as you tune into your intuition. Please head to samhorton.co/gift.